Good morning, everyone. I'm Mahendra Jain. I head the Energy Department in Government of Karnataka. As you all know, the state of Karnataka has been at the forefront of renewables. Our share of renewables in installed capacity, excluding the hydropower, already is at 48%. Our installed capacity is about 13,888 megawatt of renewables out of a total of 28,000 installed capacity. And at 48% and with almost 15% of country's installed capacity, we rank the highest in terms of installed capacity of renewables in the country. Our solar stands at 6,303 megawatt and counting. Almost every day we are adding more megawatts to the solar capacity. Only day before yesterday we added about 350 megawatt. You're aware of the Pavagad solar park where we at a single location we have about 2,000 megawatts of solar power, of which 1,850 is already commissioned. Wind capacities, again, which is counting, stands at 4,788 megawatt. We also have significant cogeneration, 1,731, and the mini hydel, which is about 800 odd. And the hydropower, the hydel is, major hydel is about 4,000 megawatt. In terms of the RPO achievement, the renewable purchase obligation, as against a norm of about 10.25% for non-solar, we are at 19%. As against a norm of about 6.75% for solar, we are at 12%. So our RPO achievement already stands at 31% as against the norm of about 17%. Of course, this throws up a lot of challenges because of the inherent characteristic of renewables. The most important being that it enjoys the must-run status. We cannot stop the renewable power from being generated, and therefore it cannot be backed down, as a result of which it leads to a lot of underdraw of the central generating station power, and that has its own set of problems of violation of the IEGC and the financial loss to the DISCOMs because of the underdraw. There's also the factor of unpredictability of the forecast of renewables. How much would the wind speed be? What would the radiation be on a particular day, which determines how much renewables we are going to generate. And therefore, it's difficult to assess what will be the surplus or deficit on a particular day. And that again leads to financial losses and challenges for the grid operator. There's the factor of seasonality, intermittency of renewables. Again, challenges for the grid operator in balancing. And because of the inadequate injection and absorption of reactive power, it leads to challenges in maintaining the voltages, which leads to customer dissatisfaction and more costs to the ESCOMs. There's also the unpredictability of the renewables, and therefore the thermal power has to witness some steep ramp up and ramp down, and that leads to stress on the thermal assets, more wear and tear of the thermal assets. Also, there's huge variation, and therefore the other sources have to be kept on bar. Again, it leads to cost. And although the the regulatory commission allows for a plus or minus 15% variation, which in state of Karnataka amounts to almost 1,700 megawatt, but the CGS deviation limit for Karnataka is only 250 megawatt. So if our underdraw exceeds 250 megawatt, then there's no compensation given. So in terms of balancing and so on, there are huge challenges. Just to give you an example, in a good rainfall season, are must-run hydro because the dams and the rivers are flowing, so the power gets generated. It's about anywhere between 1200 to 1800 megawatt. Our minimum renewable generation on any particular day, minimum is about 6,500 megawatt. The net CGS, even after backing down generation, which is on bar allocation alone, the generation is about 1,300 to 1,500 megawatt. And the minimum state thermal generation is about 800 to 1,000 megawatts. So the total generation is between 900 to 9,000 to 11,000 megawatt, whereas the state demand in a good rainfall scenario is only about 600 to 8,000 megawatts. So we have a surplus of almost 3,000 megawatt, and the state has to pay to the CGS, to the central generating station, not only for the energy charges, but even if we don't draw the energy, we have to pay the fixed charges, the compensation for the deviations and so on. So these are the challenges which make it exciting, interesting, difficult. So what the way forward is that, I mean, of course, the renewables will continue to grow in Karnataka. There's a lot of demand. If with some good storage facilities as and when they develop, the scenario is not too distant when we will start wondering what do we do with the thermal capacity that we have. So the way forward basically would be that we need technology support to improve forecasting of the renewable generation. We need technology support for our scheduling mechanism. We need financial support for battery storage, more research and development needed. And of course, internal issue is that the enhancement of the deviation limit, which I said, I mean, if underdrawal from the central generating station exceeds 250 megawatt, then we don't get any compensation at all. So even in terms of tariff structure, if we promote rooftop solar generation, which is generated and consumed at the same place without much demand on the grid, it can really help the situation. So these are basically the challenges and what we are looking at in years to come. And from this distinguished audience with a lot of domain knowledge, we are hoping that we'll be able to resolve these challenges successfully. Thank you very much.